Hi guys, Midwest Outdoorsman here with another review. This time I was going to talk a little bit about just a quick thing on survival knives, and what I mean by survival knives is I mean large survival knives. They have a role to play, and you know, a lot of people want them for, you know, camping and stuff, or for your bug out bags, and people want them for, you know, general use or whatever. And I just wanted to kind of show you a little bit of philosophies of what I use the survival knives for, the large ones, and kind of how I think they should be used, and a couple of the choices that I made from stuff that I've putzed around with, and reading other people's reviews, and you know, all the collection of knowledge that I have so far, which, you know, I'm not the end-all expert, but I think these are pretty good solid choices that'll help anyone who's you know, looking for a large survival knife for various purposes. So first of all, what do you want to use your survival knife for? You know, they say survival, but for me, I think of it as something when either A, I'm going like camping, or something to attach to a bug out bag where I think I'm going to be like camping in the woods, you know, because of that kind of thing. I need a large, thick bladed tool to chop wood, split wood, do various tasks. I like to get the most usage I can out of something, especially so large if you're going to be packing it around. You don't want to carry more weight than you have to, and you want to get a lot of use out of it. And there's a couple different choices and uses you can look at here. This is a Bark River Bravo 1.5, just kind of for comparisons for size or whatever. I'll take that out of the sheath. I'm going to do a review of this knife, I think, next, just for a quick review. Now, this is the Ontario sp8 survival machete, they call it. Not really a machete. To me, it's more like a survival knife. It's kind of a blend of everything, but that's why I like it. This is my favorite choice, probably, for the way that I use it. And this is the Cold Steel Trailmaster. Alright, so let's take a look here at some of these. And that stuff on the blade there, that's just grease. I like to keep mine oiled up a little bit, you know, because it's high carbon steel, so just so it doesn't rust. So if anyone was wondering what that is, that's what it is. And there we go. I've got a bunch of these or whatever. This is a brand new one. I have them on my bug out bags and stuff, so you can kind of see the blade a little bit easier. But if you want the quick specs on them, these are kind of my top two choices as far as large survival blades. The other one that I don't have that I would throw in here is the Ontario SP50. I think that is a great choice as well. I don't have one because I really don't have a use for it. I've got, you know, like I said, I've got this is kind of what I like to use, so I have a bunch of these. I have this and some other ones, and I you know, with my money right now, eventually I'd like to get one. But if you want to look at a really cool video of the Ontario SP50, there's a guy that does a lot of reviews called Nut and Fancy. Does a very good, more in-depth reviews than I do, and he's got more flash and stuff as far as being able to cut in videos of other stuff doing. He really likes to use it and stuff. I really just don't have time to do all that. I wish I did, but I don't. So I just like to put my viewpoints in on stuff, and just try to make it, you know, short and sweet for the most part. But anyways, he's got a really good video on the Ontario SP50 if you want to check that out. It's a great knife. But let's get back to these ones. The specs on them are the SP8, the Ontario SP8 is about a 10-inch blade. It's 22.8 ounces, so you know these are heavy knives. They're large survival knives, and it's made out of 1095 carbon steel. And I love carbon steel for this type of application. I love carbon steel because it's easy to sharpen, it's easy to work with. You know, it does rust easy, but if you keep it greased up and keep it oiled, you know, WD-40 a little, or greaser, you know, mineral oil, whatever you want to use, it's not as bad. But I'm not really using it as far as like skinning game and preparing food and all that kind of stuff. So the high carbon steel, I think the benefits really outweigh the downside as far as the rust and all that kind of stuff that you can get on them because of the way that you're using it. So that being said, the specs on the Cold Steel Trailmaster, it's a 9.5-inch blade. Overall length is 14.5 inches. It's VG, or no, that's a different version. Sorry. They also make a Sanmai 3 version of this knife, but mine is SK5 high carbon, which is like a 1095-ish high carbon steel. The weight on the Trailmaster is 17.5 ounces, so it is a little bit lighter than the Ontario. But for what I'm using it for, I kind of like that extra weight. Yeah, it sucks to pack it around if you're going to be on a backpacking trip, but I mean, really, honestly, you know, for what the capabilities are, for what you're getting, to me, it's worth it. Anyways, the blade thickness on the Trailmaster is 5/16, and the blade thickness on the Ontario, I believe, is about a 1/4 inch. It's pretty thick. Can look at the difference here. So, nice thick blades. Do a lot of work with them. Okay, so that's kind of the specs of everything. But now, if you look at what you want to use it for, the Ontario, for me, it's just fantastic. You know, it's a great chopper. The weight is forward. Okay, so the balance point is, you know, up here somewhere. If you can see that, sorry. You know, your balance point is up in here somewhere. So when you're chopping, I mean, you got your balance right about there. And it's not a full flat grind. I've seen some videos where some people take these to a full flat grind, and they say they like that better. I don't mind it with this grind that they have on here now, just a regular V grind, or skinny grind, or whatever you want to call that. I'm not a super expert when it comes to that, but you know, it's got the flat up here, then it goes down to the V. But one thing I like about this being like a survival tool is that the front of it here is obviously not pointed. It's more like, so it serves almost like a, you know, pry bar, or you can, you know, take the bark off of sticks or whatever you want. You know, you can use this. There's a million and one uses for this tool. You know, so you can use it for prying that stuff without having to worry about breaking the tip of your knife off because it, you know, it doesn't have one. But some people might think of that as a drawback. That's kind of why I included the Trailmaster, because it's a knife, so to speak, where you can use this to defend yourself, really, if you want to. Not that you can't use the Ontario, but it has a point on it. So depending on if you like that or not, just something to consider. But I like that just for the utility of it, because I'm going to carry this, and I'm going to carry also a knife that's, you know, a smaller companion, like something like this, or even smaller fixed blade knife. So for me, I don't really need the point. I'd rather have the flat edge to work with for prying and that kind of stuff. It is notched on the back here, they say, for making notches in traps and stuff. And it will take off some wood, but it takes, you know, it's not like it's not sharpened. It's so it takes a while. So I mean, it'll make notches and stuff, but that's about all. It's not gonna saw through a tree or anything like that. Just so if you're wondering if it was a saw, it's not. It's just for making notches in you know, very, you know, shallow, you know, for making traps and that kind of thing. The handle is Kraton, and it's not really a grippy material. It's more of a hard plastic, and it has, you know, the grooves in here, so sweat and that kind of stuff would, you know, keep your hand from slipping. And it has a lanyard here, and I like the nice hooks on the end here, keep your hand nice and secure. I really like this for this type of tool, because a lot of times you're going to be wearing a glove anyway, and it works good, and it's really durable for the type of stuff you're going to be bashing around with this thing. I don't know, I like it. I think it works really well. And the weight and the heft of it are great for chopping, great for splitting. You know, it's got a million and one uses. It just works all around. Just a great survival tool. Anything you can think of, you know, I mean, it'll do it pretty much. As far as the Cold Steel Trailmaster, I mean, it's a great chopper. It's got great, you know, heft to it, great balance. Splits wood great. You also have the knife blade there. You know, so if you're like want to use that point for defense or whatever, let's say a grizzly bear comes on top of you or something, you want to stab it. Obviously, you're not going to do that with the Ontario. But for me, that's kind of a limited type of thing where I'm not really thinking that way. I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing most of the time, which is, you know, chopping wood, splitting wood, making notches, that kind of thing for survival. But this will do all that in spades, and it's a great option, and it is lighter. So, you know, take that into consideration. I really love the feel of the handle. It's a nice grippy, like a rubbery tacky type feel to it. Has a lanyard hole as well. It's got your nice bolster on here, double, so you don't slip. So you can use this, you know, if you're gonna use it for defense or something, you have a double bolster. So I would say if you're thinking about pressing your big survival knife into defense, this is definitely the one to choose, because it's more geared, you know, to be able to deuce that thing. Plus, it'll do all your survival tasks really well. You know, just like the Ontario will. But for me, I'm not usually thinking about it as defense. It's more for just utility, and I think this does that job better. And then especially when you team something like this up with something like this. This is the Bako Laplander folding saw. This is, in my opinion, the best folding saw you can get. 25 bucks and really high quality blade. There's really nothing you can't do. I mean, you take a big piece of wood. I mean, you can saw through it like butter with that, and you can chunk it down. You know, make it split up. I mean, within reason, of course. You're not going to be doing like 2 feet logs or something like that. But you know, for firewood or making traps or something like that, you can go through, cut a bunch of sticks with this to save on this. I mean, you can use this if you want. It's just going to take you longer. But this, to me, you know, especially you can use it as a game saw and all that kind of stuff. So you got to figure out what you want to take with you. But I think it's a good team. You know, something like, you know, this or even a little bit smaller knife that can serve as, you know, a game skinner and kind of smaller tasks. Then you got your saw, and then you got your large saw knife. I think makes a great team. Or, you know, this, and this. Something like that would be a great team to take out to the woods. So you could do anything, you know, if you're going to be hunting and you want something to, if you get lost, you know, to press into a survival role, you could take something like this, and then you could also take like something quite a bit smaller, like let's say something like this, a cold steel Pendleton Hunter, you know, quite a bit smaller, but this is your dedicated knife for, you know, putzing around. You can use it for a camp food knife and stuff like that, skinning game and all that, you know, and it'll work. And then this one you can use for your heavy duty tasks. Or you could go the route of getting something like that Bark River Bravo 1.5 right here, and you know, you could try to replace, you know, all this stuff. Just take the saw on that. Obviously, this is not going to be nearly as capable as that at chopping, but if you take the saw, then you know you can cut your branches and stuff, and you can still split with this just fine. So it all depends on what you want to do. I mean, you know, different strokes for different folks. It all depends on where you live and the kind of terrain you're going to be in, how much weight you want to take. But I just wanted to give you some options and get you kind of thinking about some idea for the system that you want to take. You know, if it's a bug out bag, or if it's hunting, or if it's all, you know, everything all in one. That's all up to you, because there's so many variables. No one can say what's, you know, quote unquote best for everything. I just like to give you some quality options to choose from, kind of some things to think about. And I forget things all the time too. So if you guys think about stuff that I am completely missing on, or you think is different, or work way better for you, go ahead and chime in so that people watching the video, they could see it in the comments and say, oh, I didn't think of that. You know, just be respectful of what everybody else says, and you know, I'll do the same. But I think these two are just great survival blades. They chop well, and you know, it depends on how you want to use them, but they really are good quality. And I never had any problem with Ontario or Cold Steel. They're great companies. They make a lot of good stuff. So there's just a quick review of some good choices for blades. And if you get one of them, or have another one that you think is even better, or you know, works great for you, go ahead and chime in and let us all know how you use it and why you like it. I'd love to hear everyone else's different opinions and stuff that they use. You know, maybe it's something I've never even heard of. So I was also checking out kind of an in-between knife. I don't have it yet. Obviously, they just came out. Is the GSO 5.1 by Survive Knives. And that's made out of 3V tool steel, and it's kind of like in between. It's a little bit bigger than like my Bark River, but well, actually the blade's a little bit shorter, but it's a little bit. It's kind of like in the smaller survival knife, but kind of one that people have been saying is good, and you know, to keep an eye on if you want to check that out too. I always like looking at new stuff. So hope this review, or you know, just kind of looking at some survival knives and stuff, helped out anybody, and thanks for watching.